So just, I guess, talk to me a little bit about what do you do as a parent to make sure that your son is properly using apps?
Well, for the most part, I have to trust him. We have discussions all the time. I don't necessarily check his phone regularly, but I do follow him on the majority of the apps that he uses. I watch him when he goes live. Sometimes I might just pop in and peek behind him and see what's going on, listen to the discussion. I monitor all of his posts, Snapchat, Instagram. Obviously I don't see what he sends directly to his friends, but I monitor what I can, and I just trust that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. If I see something I don't like, I let him know, and I explain to him why it's not okay, and then I just have to believe that he's going to take that into consideration and do what's appropriate.
How important is it as a parent, would you say, to monitor what they're doing?
I think it's important. You have to have some level of trust. Perhaps I should monitor it more closely. Grab his phone and scroll through his texts and his photographs. I've done it before, and like I said, if I see something I don't like, I make sure he's aware that it's not okay. It's definitely good to know what's going on, because a lot of times, if we don't, they're not going to tell us everything. So it's good to know.
Yeah. And what advice, I guess, would you give to parents who have kids that are using apps? What would you tell them, just in, I guess, what advice would you give? Sorry.
Well, I think for the most part is just keep the lines of communication open. Be aware of what apps there are. There are many that I don't even know exist. And luckily I have a son that tells me, he lets me know what apps he's using. He tells me that he's going to broadcast live, or we share that information with each other. And I think that's important, is just keeping the communication open and knowing what's out there.
Do you think that social media and apps could be dangerous?
Absolutely, absolutely. I know there's a lot of cyberbullying out there. I've witnessed it on my son's posts. I've seen where people comment, just negative things. It's a positive picture, and someone has to comment something negative and turn it into something bad. I've seen it. You hear about it every day, and there are people out there who almost prey on these teenagers that use these apps. You share the wrong information with the wrong person, and you're setting yourself up for something dangerous.
You kind of said something, you've seen it on your son's post. It's a positive picture, and then they turn it into something negative.
Right.
What do you say to your son when that happens?
I don't. I pointed out to him, and luckily he's a strong enough minded boy that he tries not to take it personally, and he knows that that's normally a reflection on that person and maybe some trouble that they're dealing with, and he doesn't take it personally if he can help it, and try not to react to it either, and just try to blow it off.
What do you look for, I guess? Are they using apps? Are they on social media?
They're on a lot of different apps. I monitor them. I always have. I have 2 older children that went through the same thing, and then I have my 16-year-old. And what I do is if they have a code on their phone, I have to know the code. So I can get on their phone, and I call it a parent check. And at any time, if the phone is sitting on a table and I decide I'm going to check, I get on their phone and I check everything. You have to, not only for sexting and apps and all that stuff, you have to check that stuff. So I get on and I check, and if I see something I don't like, then we have to have a conversation. So I do that. On the apps, they have to friend me. And with my son, he tends to go back and forth and make different pages, and so I'm always following him to make sure I'm staying on top of what he's posting, what people are posting underneath him as comments, pictures, making sure everything is appropriate.
Why is that important to do?
There is cyberbullying, and I don't want him to do it. He's a pretty good boy, and I don't want somebody doing it to him. It's just dangerous. I don't think the kids realize that they could text something or post something in a matter of minutes. Everybody, all his friends have it, all the classroom can have it, because that's how quickly it flies. And people cyberbully, I think, because they stay anonymous. So they can hide behind what they put on the internet.
You know, when you hear your son talk about what we talked about over here, and you kind of made the comment, you know, we have good boys. What makes you say that?
They are. They're both good boys. They stay out of trouble. The stuff that they post on their apps is good stuff. I've gotten to the point where I don't do my checks as much because he's always passing them with flying colors. He's not a negative person. He keeps it positive, just like Jonah does. They're good boys. They stay out of trouble, and they're both positive, and I think that's good for teenagers. That's what, like my son had said, that's what you need. You need somebody that's going to be a positive influence, especially as teenagers. You can make someone's day by doing that. You know, sometimes that's all the kids have. You know, if they don't have a lot of friends, you know, they relate to the kids by going on these apps. And if you have someone that's a positive, posts positive things, it makes a difference.
What advice would you give to parents maybe who aren't as involved as you, but maybe what would you want to tell them, like warning signs or things to look out for when it comes to possibly using these apps inappropriately?
If you go to touch their phone and go near their phone and they go to grab it, that's probably a bad sign. If you walk by them and they're texting and they hide their phone, that would probably be a bad sign. I think just keeping it to themselves and not letting you see anything that's on the screen, that's probably a sign. Maybe if they are withdrawn, you know, maybe someone's picking on them and they don't know how to explain it to their parents or talk to their parents, and so they kind of withdraw, trying to deal with it in their head or something. I would probably give them that advice.